What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode, and we're here for the final round of Season 7 of our Jaguar Racing career. This is going to be our last race on My Team Career Mode, at least for a while. You know, the plan is, of course, moving back to driver career for F1 24 with the changes and everything. But, you know, we have a lot to focus on before that point. We have had two back-to-back victories in Portugal and Las Vegas in some of the most incredible races I've ever had on this year's game. And it currently puts us just 12 points off the top of the championship going into the final race. Don't forget, we were 52 points down on George Russell just a couple of races ago. So the amount that we've managed to close him down by is absolutely sensational. We're also only 5 points off of Red Bull in the Constructors standings as well. So I would say that if we have a good race today, myself and Charles Leclerc, and, you know, the Red Bulls of Russell and Ocon, they have a poor race today, we have a real opportunity to close out not one, but both championships. And hopefully I will be able to come home. Both the Drivers' Champion and Jaguar will come home the Constructors' Champion after 29 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix today. But, you know, obviously there are a few things we'll have to do before then. We've got practice to do, we've got qualifying to do. Qualifying, of course, the goal is going to be to qualify as high up the order as we possibly can, get ourselves into a position where hopefully we can run away with the race. And, I mean, like I said before, I'm not particularly optimistic about the chances of having a third banger in a row, because we had a really good race in both Portugal and Las Vegas, and this circuit is just nowhere near as conducive to the quality of racing that we had in those two circuits. So it might be a little bit less of an exciting race, but I'm hoping that the outcome will be just as exciting as it was in those couple of races. And hopefully, you know, at the end of the race, we'll be talking about how I've pulled off one of the most miraculous, greatest escapes that I have ever pulled off in a Formula 1 game. You know, if we succeed here today, I would say that this is arguably a more impressive comeback than that season in F1 22, which I think was also Season 7 actually, where I was 52 points down on Albon with 4 races to go. Obviously this was 3 races to go on this occasion, so yeah, arguably a more impressive comeback if we can pull it off. But we are still 12 points down in the championship, so it's not guaranteed. Our first flying lap in Q1 was a 120.9, fresh set of soft compound tyres, but I did accidentally overfuel the car a little bit, so hopefully when we take some fuel out, we'll be able to go even faster than that. We were initially fastest, go down to P12 in the end here, at the end of Q1, but as we ran the final corner here, you can see we did improve by a second with that lower level of fuel into the 119s, and that will be good enough to see us through to Q2 in P1. So looking very good right now. Hopefully we'll be able to continue delivering P1 performances through the next couple of qualifying sessions as well. Both Ocon and Russell getting through in P2 and P4, meanwhile Leclerc a little bit off the pace in P14, and then knocked out here De Vries, Stroll, Magnussen, Doohan, Tsunoda and Fittipaldi, so no real shocks there, I would say. I'm just happy that Leclerc has managed to make it through to Q2 this time, because of course he didn't do that in Las Vegas. He was knocked out, and I don't think he ended up even scoring any points there, and we could have got ourselves into the lead of the Constructors if he had, so that was a bit of a shame. First flying lap here in Q2 is a 120.3. It's a banker lap on a used set of soft compound tyres, of course, so I'm optimistic that we'll be able to improve on it by a pretty significant margin on our flying lap on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, which is the one you can see we're on right now, and we're improving by about 2 or 3 tenths. It's not quite the improvement I was expecting. It's a 120.0, so not quite as fast as our best Q1 time, and it was only good enough for P2 on this occasion. So, you know, we're still through, still right up the tail end of the order, but, you know, not quite the performance that we showed in Q1, and we get beaten by Charles Leclerc. But the exciting thing that's happened here is P12 and P16. Ocon and Russell, both Red Bulls, are out in the session. They join Vesti, Norris, Perez and Porsche. Even Norris is a bit of a surprise there, to be honest, but yeah, both Red Bulls knocked out in Q2, so this presents us with a real opportunity now to win both championships. If myself and Charles Leclerc can qualify in quite the same way that we did in Q2 there, if we can finish Q3 in P1 and P2 for either of us, then we'll be looking amazing here. Currently with P3 and P4, I just did a 120.1 on a used set of soft compound tyres, So we're going to have to find a bit of improvement as we currently sit in P4. But you can see as we make our way into Sector 3, we're not quite as far up as I was expecting we would be. So we're going to have a really good run through Sector 3 here. And you can see already we've made up a 10th or two. And as we exit that corner, clearly I had a bad run through there on my first flying lap, because you can see that we are now nearly 5 tenths up. And as we round the final corner, it's nearly 6 tenths. And as we cross the line, it's a 1:19.5, and that is going to be good enough for pole position. So we're going to be starting P1 in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and hopefully we will be able to convert that into a race win.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Robinson, Gasly, and Alex Albon. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
Well, this has presented us with the best opportunity for both championships, because if we can hold on to P1, George Russell needs to get from P16 to P3 in this race. Charles Leclerc starting in the top 5 as well, ahead of Esteban Ocon, so I'm pretty optimistic that we have a really good chance to close out the Constructors' Championship. So now there is only one thing left for us to do. Let's bring it home.
It's time then for one final race in this year's Formula One World Championship. 2010 saw 4 drivers in contention for the title coming into this race, with Sebastian Vettel prevailing to become the youngest world champion to date. Is the one last sting in the tail awaiting us today? It's time to find out in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We have 16 corners here at Yas Marina Circuit, 7 to the right and 9 to the left. It's a total lap distance of 3.28 miles, 2 long straights and overtaking opportunities throughout the lap. And we expect average lap speeds of around 123 miles per hour. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Robinson lines up on pole position, with Pierre Gasly alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Albon, Liam Lawson, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Verstappen, Joe, Hauger, Vesti, Ocon, Norris, Perez, Teo Porcher, Leclerc, Russell, De Vries, Stroll, Magnussen, Doohan, Tsunoda, and Enzo Fittipaldi. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective.
And they can do it for sure, as long as they don't dwell too much on the position. At the end of the day, there's only one way to go racing, and that's to give it everything you've got. Either your best is good enough to stay in the hunt, or it's not. There's no point giving any less than 100%.
Right, this championship is still alive, and there's still a chance we can win it. So get out there and bring the title home. Come on!
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. We have to bring it home today. You may have noticed in the intro to the race there that Charles Leclerc has taken a 10th-place grid penalty. A bit frustrating. It means that Ocon is promoted up 1 position into P11, so he probably does have a good chance of scoring points here today, but still, you know, Russell's position doesn't change. Leclerc starting P15. They're alongside one another. If Leclerc can hold up Russell for me, if he can be the ultimate wingman, much like I have been to him in the past, of course, that would be absolutely ideal for me today. You know, and then as long as we beat Ocon, we will win the championship no matter what. You know, even if both cars get into the points, if we can hold on to the lead, we still have a good chance of winning the Constructors' Championship today. And, you know, as things stand, George Russell still will need to get himself up into P3 to win the Drivers' Championship here today. So we will see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out, and we've had a very good getaway there compared to Gasly and Albon. I was a little bit worried about Albon initially on those soft compound tyres, of course, along with Logan Sargent, but it seems that Albon does not have the greatest of starts here. He's already fallen behind Liam Lawson. They're battling away, so immediately this race is starting to become maybe a 2-horse race between myself and the very nearly winner of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly. He was in the fight the whole way, right up until lap 20 or 21, I believe it was, when he got damaged. Will he be able to go one better here today and win in his final race in Formula One, of course? That's a storyline I've completely overlooked today, but Pierre Gasly is retiring from the sport at the end of this race. So this will be his last hurrah. Can he get a victory here today? Already he seems to be absolutely gunning for it. He's up into P1 ahead of me, and we're going to have to try and get back at him now if we possibly can. We're going to be burning so much battery on the run down here. I'm sure Gasly would love a win in his final race in Formula One, but I would love a win in my final race in this cannon as well, quite frankly. So we dive our way back up the inside of the Frenchman, and now hopefully we'll be able to try and break away. It is myself from Gasly, from Liam Lawson in P3. What a story that would be if he got himself onto the podium. So many missed opportunities for podiums this season for Williams, fighting with unreliability and just a general lack of performance compared to the rest of the top cars. But two mega talented drivers behind the wheel of the Williams cars this season. Could Liam Lawson close it out with a podium? That would be a special way for them to end the season, you'd imagine. And JAGUAR as well, up in P5. Not for long, obviously, as we move on to lap 3. But, you know, don't think I didn't see him there just for a moment. We make our way onto lap 3, and you can see that we actually have broken out of Pierre Gasly's DRS range. So this could be a very straightforward race for us if we're lucky now. If we can continue to break away from Pierre Gasly and Liam Lawson behind, and hopefully they will continue battling away with that DRS as well. There is a real opportunity now that we could just have the most boring race imaginable to end the season, and then just check out and win the race. And then all we have to do is just hope that George Russell can't get himself up into P3, hope that, you know, Ocon can't make his way up enough to the point that he will be in a competitive position to keep them in the Constructors Championship as well, because I'm trying to think. I think it would have to be 4th and 6th for Russell and Ocon to get themselves into a Constructors Championship challenging place, which seems like maybe a bit too much to ask for the Red Bull drivers today. You may not have noticed there because I was talking over it, but George Russell is currently running in 11th, so he has had a pretty good start. Seems like Charles Leclerc has gone absolutely nowhere, so, you know, he's been as useless as he usually is in these races. But yeah, Russell and Ocon currently sitting on the fringes of the points right now by the looks of things, but still, with 20 laps left to go, there is a long road ahead of them if they want any chance of walking home with even one trophy today, never mind 2. And as we make our way onto lap number 12, we are now going to be boxing for a set of hard compound tyres to the end of the race, and hopefully covering off any kind of undercut strategy that might be afoot here today. I think a few cars will be coming into the pits, and actually George Russell is going to be one of them. So as we turn into our pit box soon, you will see George Russell's name on the timing tracker. Ocon going through there, but he's still got to box off of those soft compound tyres. And yeah, you can see George Russell has moved on to the medium compound tyres, but he is significantly far behind us at the moment. So I would say we have a real opportunity now to beat him in the championship. You know, he's not going to undercut us or anything like that. The only thing you can hope for is that he pulls off a massive undercut on a lot more cars in the field. Albon and Ocon on the soft compound tyres now, boxing off of those. That'll allow me to make up a couple more positions, but obviously, you know, they are still going to be a little bit far down on the other drivers in the race. I think Russell has moved ahead of his teammate if he wasn't ahead of him already, so that will be another position gain for Russell, but he still definitely is not going to be in a position where he will be challenging for P3 in this race. You would imagine. I think the likes of Piastri and Lawson and Gasly and all those guys are probably a bit too far ahead, as you can see Dennis Hauger there coming into the pit lane. Meanwhile, we've caught up with a bit of a train here of Magnussen and Pourchaire. We're going to have to try and clear these guys as quick as we possibly can, so we're going to try and dive up the inside of Kevin Magnussen, our former teammate there, of course. You know, going on a trip down memory lane, we were teammates with Kevin Magnussen in Season 4, and he did absolutely nothing for us. So, yeah, we just really not managed to strike gold over the course of these last 7 seasons with a teammate. Probably the best one we've had has been Charles Leclerc, but even he has not done enough on either occasion to get himself involved in a championship fight, as much as I would have liked him to. Now we're going to try and get ahead of Théo Pourchaire if we possibly can in the Haas car, and it should be a bit of a formality here. He is going to fight us back a little bit, and we're going to go around the outside and ultimately have way more grip. He's on 14, 15 lap old medium compound tyres, so there is not really going to be much that he's going to be able to do in the face of some very fresh hard compound tyres. Catching Sergio Perez now, and I was glad to see that he peeled away into the pit lane, and that is going to allow us to make our way back up into the lead of the race as Vesti pits as well, and we will see what the order is looking like as we progress a little bit further through the race. So it is currently myself from Piastri, from Gasly, from Lawson, from Verstappen. So Piastri has done very well to get himself up into P2. Lawson falling off the podium, unfortunately for him, but it's still potentially a final race podium for Pierre Gasly. Meanwhile, the current running order in the battle for the Red Bulls, I believe it is Russell P6, Ocon P7, Vesti P8, and he is hassling them all the way right now. He's trying to do his part to keep ahead of them to try and maximise Alpine's points in this race. But things are looking very comfortable for us right now. Piastri not really closing us down, so all we've got to do is just hold on to the lead for the rest of the race, and we should be walking away with both championships. But unfortunately, it is going to be another mechanical failure in this season. That is our 7th mechanical failure in this season, and this is probably the most heartbreaking way to lose a championship imaginable. In the final race, we did everything. We did absolutely everything we needed to do, and it just wasn't enough. No matter what we tried this season, you know, there were so many occasions where we were on for big points, and if even one of those had come through, then it would have been a world championship for me instead. But as things stand, it is going to be George Russell being crowned the world champion. There's nothing I can do about it now. Red Bull will be winning the Constructors as well, and as a result of this, we will be leaving our final season in Formula 1 without winning a single trophy, and that is probably the most brutal way I think I have ever ended a season of Formula 1.
It's certainly been an incredible year for Formula 1, and our drivers have pushed themselves this season, making it one of the most compelling years of racing in history. There can only be one champion, however, and here they are now, our new Formula 1 World Drivers' Champion. It's been a roller coaster season then, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race for the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on the top step of the podium.
You know, it's somewhat poetic in a way. When I look at this, that Oscar Piastri, I actually had to look this up. The last time he won was Portugal Season 5. It's been over 2 years since his last victory. He got P2 in the championship last season without winning a single race, and it looked like he was on course to not win a race this season either. But he's pulled it out of the bag in the final race, and at least that's something to celebrate. You know, the ending of this meme that Piastri will never win another race. Gasly gets P2 in his final race in Formula 1, and it is Liam Lawson for Williams who completes the podium.
That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Oscar Piastri gets my vote today.
It's another title in the bag for Red Bull after a long and hard-fought season. They've built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, I can't think of a word that properly sums up how I'm feeling right now. Just all the negative emotions that you can feel about a situation like this is how I'm feeling right now. You know, this is just a horrible way to lose the championship. And like I said, you know, this Ferrari was supposed to be completely reliable, this Ferrari engine, and it has been anything but 7 DNFs over the course of 23 races. And if even one of those races had gone differently, the championship would have been in my hands instead of George Russell's. So it's hard not to feel a little bit aggrieved. It's hard not to feel like the game is rigged against me, but we will bounce back from this. Not on this year's game, of course, but on F124. There will still be a recap video coming, so look out for that one. But, you know, until that point, that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.